Yo, Wyatt begins in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Wyatt, and I'm your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans. Grrr, woof, goddammit, woof, woof, woof. Hey, my listeners. Today's Wyatt is the continuation in my series titled Bedtime with Porn Guys. I said Bedtime with Porn Guys. Yeah, I've got on tap Mr. Exquisite and Sublime Hawtness himself, Justin Yurmouth, exclusive model and the executive brand ambassador for LUXXXE Studios, which porn sensation J.D. Daniels has just established. And Justin will be pulling up to the mic post-haste. And you, after the show, visit my online home, WyattEvans.com, the go-to destination for LGBTQ news, features, commentary, and entertainment. WyattEvans.com is visited by over 100 countries on the regular. It's where you'll find my smoking hot, HAWT hot, Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. And the current installment is titled Frenzy! Yes, Frenzy. And Frenzy is chock full of masculine romance, intrigue, danger, y'all, and erotic passion and steaming nastiness. And in 2022, the sequel drops. Delirium. It's called Delirium, y'all. Next year, get ready for it. Oh my God. Looky here. Is my sometimes part-time co-host, Madam Pussy Galore, Cock-a-doodle-doo, Drag Queen Supreme, y'all. Well, hello, Snookums, or should I say, oopsie. Oh, yes, it is moi. I'm back. I'm Madam Pussy Galore, Cock-a-doodle-doo, Drag Queen Supreme, and I'm back. Yeah, I see you back. Oh, Mr. Wyatt O'Brien Evans, just stop it! I do have a question, poor boo. What might that be, pray tell? Well, here it is. Why do you do all of these porn shows? Well, if you must know, madam, sex sells. But seriously, though, the Wyatt Show features the complete spectrum of gay, same-gender loving, SGL life. You know that. Oh, Mr. Well, you're such a potty. Smarty pants. Anywho, I want to talk to that cutie Justin. Oh, no can do, Miss Thing. The porn stars tell me that the only way they'll come on Wyatt is if you're banned from talking to them. Well, clutch the pearls and stop the train. I refuse to accept that. I mean, because porn stars make me swoon. They make my breasts sweaty and swell and become rather perky. Well, I'd like to talk to them about coming on, well, something, or maybe on little old me, and well, let me tell you something! I ain't having any more of your crazy ass shenanigans. Mr. Wyatt O'Brien Evans, you're just seriously unhinged. Well, you make me that way. Now get out. Just get the hell out. She's gone. Y'all, she's gone. All right, now let's dive into today's show. Our special guest is Mr. Justin Yurmouth, and he's a highly in demand adult entertainer lighting up the porn universe. And let me tell you something. Mr. Yurmouth is exclusive model and the executive brand ambassador for LUXXXE Studios, which Mr. J.D. Daniels, porn sensation and Raven Eden's performer of the decade, has just established. And y'all, LUXXXE Studios is proving unique and exceptional because right out of the gate, LUXXXE is getting tons of industry raves, praise, and goodwill. So without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Justin Yurmouth. Talk at me. How the hell are ya?
I'm doing all right. Having a nice Sunday afternoon, just kind of chill, hanging out with you. So
cool. Well, Justin, I really want to thank you for taking time out to appear on Wyatt. It is greatly appreciated.
Well, it's a great honor to be here. So the feeling is mutual.
Well, thank you, my man. Let me tell you something here. You are doing such tasty and tantalizing work. It's, well, rather stimulating and exhilarating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been an interesting journey. I expected big things, but it's just been like happening so crazy and so quickly that it's just like it makes you a little shell shocked. You're like, whoa, I expected it, but just not this quickly. You know what I mean? So it's really cool. It's really exciting.
Well, a lot of times good things happen really quickly, sometimes when we least expect it, and we really have to be ready. And talking about big things, give our listeners your vitals, your height, your weight, and of course, how much you're packing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm about between 165, 170, depending on how long I spend in the steam room. And
I love it.
I'm about 5'10", 5'9.5", if I'm really getting technical there. And then down there, I'd say 7 inches. I hope not 7 centimeters. That would really be no. I would not be talking to you about that if it was 7 centimeters. So, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Inches are always better than centimeters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that's true. Especially when we're talking about this kind of stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Now, I have to ask you, Justin, Yurmouth, is that a stage name?
Oh, yeah. Well, I wish I could say that was my real name, but no, it is a stage name.
I kind of thought so.
Yeah. although I do know a couple people in the industry who I know their real names, and their real names are better adult film names than their adult film names. They should have just stuck with their real name. So
that is very, very true. And I like Yurmouth. That's Yurmouth. I love it.
I like it because it's like, it's in your mouth as opposed to somebody else's. So, so that's what's so nice about it.
That is a hell of a good point.
Yeah. No, it's I love that name, and everybody always goes like, oh, when I hear that. So.
I totally get it. I'm an eye guy, and everybody, that means that I'm really drawn to a man's eyes. I mean, for me, that's part of the sensual attraction. And I find yours quite magnetic. They fucking draw you in. On the one hand, they exude innocence. On the other, some naughtiness. Have you heard that one before?
Not that explicitly like stated, but it's definitely been strongly implied that's kind of what's going on. People always just like, I don't know why, that's like the first thing people always notice. It's hard to tell in this light, but they can be like, some of the pictures I've taken, they're like really, really blue, and they also change color. So like in my driver's license says they're green. So they like, it's like it depends on, there are those people that it's like it depends on what color your clothes are. So it really varies. Sometimes they're more green, sometimes they're more blue, sometimes they're more gray. So it's kind of nice. You get the best of everything.
That is nice. Now, Justin, before we peel back the layers of your adult entertainment career and then get the 411 on your roles as exclusive model and executive brand ambassador for LUXXXE Studios, let's travel down through the corridors of time so that we can get a fuller flavor of you. So, you ready to take that trip?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
All right. Now, I believe that you are of Polish descent and you were born and raised like in or near Kansas City, Kansas?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm not 100% Polish, but it's mostly what I like the side of me that I identify with the most. So I'm like a lot of things, you know. I think my dad like did a DNA test, and I'm like just basically a little bit of everything, pretty much. So, you know, but mainly it's Polish, yeah.
Okay, cool. Brothers, sisters, where do you fall in the family structure?
I am the only one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm one of those. I'm one of those. So it's both good, and you know it's good because you're alone a lot of the time, but it's
Right.
also bad because you're alone a lot of the time. So it's like, yeah, you have mixed feelings about it. But then again, somebody with a lot of brothers and sisters is probably gonna say the same thing. So
Absolutely. Well, now look, I always like to ask my guests this question because it really gives us an idea of the man that you've become. So, what was Justin like as a boy, a little nipper?
oh,
What three characteristics or qualities would you say best described you?
uh, hmm. Well, let me put it this way: I don't have any pictures of myself before about 5 years ago.
Okay.
Like I was trying to do that 10-year challenge, and I was like, wait a second,
Right.
I don't really have any pictures of me uh, before like 5 years ago, so I can't do the 10-year challenge. But
Right.
I would say I was very creative and a little bit shy,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
smart maybe. So I guess maybe that would have
Mm-hmm.
been like my top qualities, I think, growing up. So I was not particularly, I didn't get like into the gym and stuff like that until a little bit later, you know, in
Ah.
life. So, you know, yeah, I'm kind of a late bloomer on that front.
Well, when did you first know that you were into guys, that your sexual orientation was whatever?
I mean, I guess I'm basically, I'm bisexual. So I'm a little bit of
Oh,
like,
cool.
yeah, so I actually go like a little bit of everything. And people just can't believe that like I would like be able to go both. But yeah, no, it's true. And it even goes by day by day by day. Like sometimes more guys, sometimes more girls, sometimes, you know, but that's been that way, like, God, as long as I can remember. So I can't remember it.
Whoa.
Yeah, I can't remember a time when I kind of didn't think that way, you know?
Justin, that's very interesting. So you really don't have a preference. It's just how you feel at the time or in a situation.
Yeah, you know, and I know that sounds like really wishy-washy, you know, like a lot of people are like, no,
No,
you
not
have
at
to
all.
make, you'd be amazed though how many people are like, you got to make a decision. I'm like, well, first of all, I don't really have to answer to you, and you
Right.
know, but also, yeah, you know, can you appreciate all the flavors of life, you know? So,
Mhm.
yeah,
No, I mean, it's who you are.
yeah,
And to do otherwise would be negating who you really are. So,
absolutely, absolutely, you know. So it's what I do. It's what I enjoy. So,
mhm.
and you can't apologize for that.
And no, why should you? As long as you're being your authentic self, why should you apologize?
Exactly, exactly. There's a lot of that, you know, and it's one of the things that really bugs me when people tell you, no, you
Hmm.
can't do this, or you can't be that way, or you can't, you know. When the minute people start using that word a lot is when I start going like, oh, maybe I should go listen to somebody else. So maybe I need to take a, you
Absolutely.
know. So yeah,
Aha. Okay. Let's fast forward to adulthood. A little birdie told me that you have a law degree.
yes, that is true. That is actually
Tell
true.
us, fascinating. Tell us about that.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. So I did go to law school. I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm barred in a few states. So, yeah. So yeah, I mean, you know, you nearly drive yourself crazy trying to get those licenses, but it's
I can
worth it
imagine.
because once you have it, you know, as long as you pay your dues every year, you just check non-practicing attorney, and there you go. I don't have to do
Um,
anything.
Now, what field of law do you practice?
I've never really practiced. Like I
Oh,
have all
that's
the
yeah.
education,
Hmm.
but basically it's mainly in like international law and uh, also uh, like copyrights, trademarks, things like that. I can't do patent because you have to have like a science background for that. But basically, yeah, copyrights, trademarks, which out here on the West Coast is definitely a good thing to know about. So,
Most definitely. Well, that's great. Well, why did you choose the path into the adult entertainment industry? What was the impetus behind you deciding to do that, to go that way?
um, well, again, it's one of those things where it was kind of like always in the back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But for the longest time, I think because of my background, you know, it was still kind of like, even when I was in law school, it was still kind of like taboo. Like, you know, there was that stereotype that, like, well, people with your education don't do stuff like that, you know? So it was a little bit, I had a lot of hesitation, you know? So I like did some, like, I kind of like dabbled a little bit, you know, but never really got fully into it. So then, then after a while, I was just like, screw it, I'm going to do it. And then now you find out there are all these people, and I meet all these amazing people in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
and you find out that you're not the only one. A lot of people are very, uh, just like you know, and a lot of times do it for the same reason. You know, they're just kind of tired of that whole rat race, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
What is the main, Justin, what is the main draw of being an adult entertainer? Maybe some would say it's just fucking, having the license to to have to fuck whenever you want or kind of whenever you want. So
mhm.
what's the main draw?
I would say that you know, it's a combination of that definitely does play a role. But also it's you know, you just kind of like you have sort of that exhibitionist sort of like streak in you,
Mhm.
and you like being seen and stuff like that. You know, so that definitely is a, I'd say it's about 50-50, those two things.
Got it.
So
What? Okay. I
yeah,
can see that
yeah.
definitely. Well, what was your first experience like on film? Right before you walked on set, for example, did you have like trepidation? Were you nervous? Did you say, "Oh, maybe I made a mistake here"?
Uh, at the beginning, I mean, I thought that several times, you know.
Ah,
Yeah, so that was not, it was not always easy to like jump in, you know, because you know, especially as I started putting myself out there more, like before I signed an exclusive, you know, I maybe done some work for a few other studios and stuff like
right.
that, and uh, I always had a lot of like self doubt and things like that. There were a couple times where like I honestly believed that that they were going to take one look at me and fire me on the spot. So
Oh man.
yeah, so you have a lot of this like self doubt, but after a while, when you realize, oh, they keep coming bringing me back and bringing me back, I'm like, okay, I must maybe not so bad. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. After you did your first film,
Hmm.
I imagine you reassessed your performance. Did you say to yourself, "Wow, I could have done that better"?
That's why I try not to watch my own work.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm one of those, and actually, there are a lot of people that don't really. I'll watch like maybe like preview clips, but I don't like, because I will nitpick at every little thing, and I will just like, I will spend like all day sitting there going, I could have done this better, I could have done that better, and I just realized that is such
Right.
a, you know, if there really is a big problem, someone else is going to tell you, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you're often the worst judge of yourself, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And you're not alone in that because non pornographic actors, a lot of them do the same thing. They
Oh yeah.
just will not watch their stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I think for a lot of people it's very difficult to do because you see yourself so much harsher than everybody else does.
Right.
So
The old saying, you can be your own worst critic.
absolutely. I mean, that I feel like that is a truth that many people that is true for many people, and I think you I think it's kind of known, but sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people forget that, because they think that the way they perceive themselves is like reality, when really they're judging themselves 10 times harsher than everybody else is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I totally understand that. Have you ever had an on-set experience that was just totally horrible? And if so, tell us about it.
well, I mean, it was a while ago, and I don't want to get like too much into names or anything like
Oh,
that. I'm not
sure.
one of those people that's gonna like talk about people behind their backs and stuff. But I would say that the nuts and bolts of it is that somebody threatened to kill me because I got lube on their shirt.
Wait a minute. Hold on. What? What? Well, first of all, should they? Why were they wearing a shirt?
Well,
You're doing your thing.
they had put it on like the side, but they put it like right in the middle of the area we were filming, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's gonna happen, And on top of that, it washes out, you know.
Yeah. Whoa, this person was totally unhinged.
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Yeah, there was like.
Well,
So yeah, there definitely is some of that, and that's one of the things I like about if I may plug JD and Lux
oh
real
yeah,
quick.
yeah.
That's one of the things I like about us is there's sort of no tolerance for that sort of behavior. When we're on a set, we're all working together to make a great scene, and there's just we got no time for that.
Hmm. I mean, I respect that because I've interviewed quite a few adult entertainers, and they will tell me that they'll tell me some of their experiences on set. They're divas, and people are just not being professional, and they're acting out. And
Yeah,
I just don't get it. You're there to do a job.
I know, and I'm like, and that's the thing is that if you're like the star of the minute, you might be able to get away with it for a little bit, but as soon as people don't have to deal with you anymore, they won't. So you got to be very careful when you start acting like that, unprofessionally and diva-ish and things like that around people, because then that will come back to you at some point.
And two things I want to ask you about or make a comment about before we get into Lux, because
Mhm.
I am just so impressed with JD and what he's creating. Number one, my industry is also entertainment,
Mhm.
writing, being an
Mhm.
author, podcaster, used to do acting and stand
Mhm.
up. And we all performers have to understand that you can be up one day and down the
Yeah.
next. And you can't burn your bridges, and you have to act professional.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely. I think that's super important, and I think a lot of people forget that, because that sustains you. Like I was saying, you might be able to get away with it when you're the star of the moment, but the minute people can you've seen it with a lot of like TVs and movie celebrities. The minute
Mhm.
they have to stop working with you, they won't. You know,
Exactly.
so and all of those in writing, in film and comedy. Even I have a little bit of a background in like improv and stuff like that, so I've
Oh, that is
seen a lot of
great.
that too. Yeah. So I tried the stand-up thing a little bit, was not for me.
Oh.
But yeah, you have to, it takes.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why we all have different personalities, because there's a certain
Hmm.
personality type that can do stand-up really well,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I just don't. I have to. You have to have a like I can tell from talking to you. You have a very vibrant energy. Like, hopefully I'm being interesting
you.
right now, but if I was really dull, you could still have a really good show because of your energy. And you need that when you're doing stand-up. Whereas me, I like feeding off of the other people, whereas like if you have a dull crowd, you still got to be 100%, you know?
Justin, thank you for that. And you're absolutely right. And really quickly, stand up is the toughest form of entertainment. It is because you're totally exposed and you get that instant reaction.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a
Mhm.
special kind of confidence, and I have nothing but admiration for people that can do that stuff. Uh, even though, if I'm perfectly honest, a lot of the stand-up comedians that I've known in my life are, sometimes when I tried out the stand-up comedy stuff, a lot of the people I was around,
Right.
I was like, people are just so like mental. I can't be around these people, you know. They're a little bit like depressing. And I've seen stand up where it's like,
Mhm.
one of my biggest pet peeves is like when you go to stand up shows and they're like, the person gets up and they're like, okay, hey guys, so my life really sucks right now.
Oh God.
I just broke up with
Yeah.
my boyfriend, girlfriend, and I'm really depressed right now. But hey, that's day. I'm being really funny right now. I was like, that's not comedy. It's like, no, I actually told jokes. You're supposed to make me laugh, not feel sorry for you. You know.
I
So
totally get that. Okay, let me ask you a fun question here.
yeah.
Um, when you are on film,
Hmm.
do you prefer one-on-ones, threesomes, orgies, or does it even matter?
Well, I mean, I'll film like whatever, but I guess if I'm talking about from like an audience perspective, like it's my job to make anything work,
Hmm.
But I would say from like an audience perspective, to be honest, I would say probably the fewer people, the better. Just because sometimes when I watch
Okay.
some of the like orgy stuff and things like that, I'm just like, it's kind of like I don't even know what to focus on. There's just so much going on, you know. There's like, okay,
True.
it's like overwhelming for the brain. So
Right.
so yeah, probably more one-on-one kind of stuff.
Okay.
That's at least to
Okay.
watch, you know. But filming it's a whole different story. Like when you're filming it, you're just in the moment, you're just having fun. So
Cool.
yeah.
Cool. I had to ask that question.
You got to. So
Ah, okay. Now let's do a deep dive into Lux Studios.
yep.
Yeah, the new studio and production company that our good buddy JD
Hmm.
Daniels created. He's CEO and president.
Hmm.
My first question, which is very, very important,
Hmm.
is how, Justin, is Lux going to stand out as a brand in the adult film industry?
Well, I would say that one of the things is that a lot of studios these days, it just sort of like they just put out content, all the time and stuff like that. And we're kind of doing
Mm,
a kind of a different angle with it. So we always talk about how it's very like a luxurious, very high end sort of brand. I mean, I think if you've seen the logo at all, you kind of get that impression,
right. Hmm.
Um, and like JD and I were talking just the other day about like some of the stuff coming out with the movie that we're working on right now, and how it's going to be
Hmm.
like, it's going to be put out like a Hollywood production. There's going to be posters, there's going to be teaser posters, there's going to be trailers, there's going to be teaser trailers, like all the kinds of like stuff. It's going to be in some like, it's going to be like put out like a movie was like a movie. So it's like a whole kind of like production, and it's very like the pictures. I've seen some of the like the clips of videos and stuff like that. It's that very like high end looking sort of like
Hmm.
uh, uh, very beautiful, very polished kind of uh, kind of performances, and a lot of stuff these days is not filmed that way, you know It's like, because, oh, sorry, they're just putting out like content every week. So they're just like, get it out, get it out, get it out, get it out.
You're absolutely right because JD was on Wyatt last time, and I agree with him from what he shared with me and what he's told me. Lux harkens back to like the 70s, 80s. They
Yeah,
have that kind of vibe and feel,
absolutely.
more Hollywood-esque
Yeah,
type stuff. And I totally agree with you. Sometimes I think there is a glut of porn.
yeah,
And I think that you have some adult entertainers that are just overexposed because of
yeah.
it.
And yeah, no, absolutely. And like, what you were saying about like it being going back to like the 70s and 80s, 90s, stuff like that. I mean, there's something
Right.
very, I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's something very erotic about those, like
Mhm.
genuinely sexy. So it's not just about like, oh, hey, how big a thing can we stick in this guy? Like some of the stuff is today.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like genuinely sexy. There's a chemistry. There's a story. There's
Hmm.
and that's kind of what we're aiming for. So it's like full movies, full production value, stuff like that. And that's I think how it stands out.
And me being a writer, I need a story. I
Yeah,
need a fully fleshed out storyline because that also, that helps me to really, you know, get aroused. I
hmm
just need that.
yeah, and like you kind of are like emotionally invested in the characters too and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like when you just see some guys, you know, getting at it on screen, it's like okay, that's nice. But when there's like a story, there's the you want to be like you don't just want to just see people going at it. You want to
Right.
be titillated a little bit. I want make me want it. You know what I mean?
And speaking of want, when you have a credible storyline with all of the action, you gravitate to watch that movie over and over
Yeah,
again.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Because again, I think you're more invested in it. And
Right.
it's also sexier too. Because
Hmm.
you feel like I'm really looking into a life here. That's why like sometimes like actually watching like shows that are like sometimes I almost find it sexier to watch like some of the like the shows that are like on TV and stuff like that, where they're
Hmm.
very erotic, because there's like storylines, there's characters and things like that. There's something very they're a lot sexier, frankly.
Justin, I agree. So what you're saying is, Lux Studios is going to bring the sexiness and the sensuality back.
Absolutely, I think you just hit it on the head right there. That's a great way of putting it. Even I couldn't have come up with that. We're gonna bring the sexy back.
Well, you know what? I barely could get it out of my mouth. And listen, if you guys use that phrase, I might have to charge you for it.
Oh well, we're all gonna well, we'll.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh well.
Yeah. Well, how did you meet JD? How did that connection happen?
We had known each other for a minute. From like
Hmm.
we'd met at a couple parties and things like that. We had been talking about working together for some time, and then he had kept me in mind for, and I'm so grateful to him that he did keep me in mind. I had no idea until. He first told me. I guess he'd been planning to start the studio for a long time, and I
Hmm.
didn't know it. I didn't know that when I first met him. And then one thing led to another. I think he did like a poll on Twitter or something about like different people he was
Oh,
interested in working with for his new studio, and I was like one of the. I think I won that poll or something,
cool.
and then it just one thing led to another, and I started talking to them, and I really liked his vision and things like that, and
Mhm.
we just kept moving forward with that. And before I know it,
Mm.
we're right here talking. You know,
That is freaking awesome.
right? And I'm so grateful because I am like again, going back to what we were talking about at the beginning with the self-doubt and stuff like that, I am like the
Mm-hmm.
worst. Like there are some people that like, even though we all struggle with self-doubt, they can sell themselves. And I'm like the worst at doing that. So it's like when you
Oh,
when you have somebody who can see you, see the potential in you, even when
right.
you always can't, uh, JD was that person, you know.
N- Oh man, you know what? It's really great to have someone who believes in you and who gives you validation.
Absolutely.
And it's rare, Justin, because it just generally doesn't happen
Yeah.
easily. And when it happens to you, that's a blessing.
Absolutely. And especially, I think in this industry, I think there's a certain like, because it was interesting how like I had heard over the years that like people, like I had always been really shy, a little not too shy, but like a little like at some of these big events and stuff like that, a little bit of a wallflower maybe.
Oh,
And
okay.
so people got the impression that like I didn't care or wasn't that motivated or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
nothing could have been further from the truth. But I
Right.
think people expect, especially from adult film actors, a certain personality,
Yeah.
a certain very sort of like assertive kind of personality that was a long time coming for me. So
Mm-hmm.
it,
Mm-hmm.
so people got the wrong impression, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why sometimes it was great when I was so honored when JD came along because he saw that in me, saw that potential in me.
Oh man, that's really wonderful. Now let's drill down into your roles as
Hmm.
Studios executive brand
Uh huh.
ambassador and exclusive
Hmm.
model.
Yeah.
Let's give us a 411, my friend.
So basically, what it is of course we all basically know what an exclusive does. They're pretty much
Mm-hmm.
they're with that company, and they film with that company pretty much exclusively. So that's a pretty straightforward thing. The brand ambassador, executive brand ambassador, and stuff like that. So since I'm like the first one, I'm like an elevated.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm like the elevated. Uh, I'm like an elevated exclusive. So like I represent the
Mm.
company at like events and stuff like that. So that would be like the brand ambassador kind of aspect of it. And on top of that, as the executive level, um, I am. I might go more on the production side too, and things like that. Be involved more in the
Mm-hmm.
business production side of things too, which is another thing I really wanted to get involved with too. Is you can't be in front of the camera forever. So,
Right, right.
I've always wanted to as well. I've always, even mainstream movies, I've always been very fascinated with like the production side of things. So, this is a
Mm-hmm.
great opportunity for that as well to like learn both sides of the camera and learn how to direct, learn how to set up camera angles, what looks good, what doesn't look good. There's a whole new area to learn with that. So that's kind of what that involves. It's like you're just involved in like every aspect of production, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you also represent the company in events and things like that.
Wow, that's great. What I wanted to say before I forget
Uh-huh.
is it is so important to be behind the as an adult entertainer. I believe it's really important to eventually
Hmm.
before your popularity ends to get behind the camera. That's why I am so impressed with JD
Yeah.
because he took that major step. Because, I mean, let's face it, eventually you're going to burn out
Yeah.
as a performer. There's always the flavor of the month to replace
Absolutely.
you. So you need to do as much as you can on the production end, behind the camera,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
And it seems like a lot of people nowadays. I know many performers who are learning how to do stuff behind the scenes as well. So that is definitely a consideration. And I think especially because of like the proliferation of a lot of like secondary platforms and things like
Right.
that. We all kind of have to learn that and should learn it. For a variety of reasons. Whereas, like as happened with Hollywood and television and things like that, there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
more um, avenues to be independent and entrepreneurial, and so learn about as much about everything as you can. You know,
Mm-hmm. And right, Justin, I mean, as Janet Jackson used to say, it's all about control because you have to be able to be in as have as much control as possible
Yeah.
with your career, with the content, all of that.
Absolutely. And like the more knowledge you have, like I heard a story once about this was a mainstream movie where the director, because he knew about like setting up cameras and things like that, the director of photography was being lazy and
Oh,
said, "Oh, well, we can't do this angle." And he's like, "No, no, no, I'll set it up for you. Here's the angle we're going to do." So that's, again, like, do you have to know about that stuff, to be a director? No. But in situations like that, that's when that knowledge comes in handy. So just knowing as much as you can is always a great thing.
mm-hmm.
So,
All right. Now, my friend, you're the star of Friends in Heat,
yeah,
Lux's debut feature, which drops in spring of next
yeah,
year, and Brian Bonds is co-starring.
yeah.
So give our listeners the 411, the synopsis. What is this thing all about?
So, I'm not sure always, I don't want to give too much away. But
Gotcha.
basically, it's going to be like, pretty much what it sounds like it is. We're like friends who meet up again. And I think, hold on, I think, am I the professional or is he the professional? Or one of us is like professionals and we're getting back together and we're like rekindling our interests and stuff like that. And there's a lot of steamy sex and stuff like that. And it's, I know for the stuff we shot, my car, well, I don't know if I can say that. Well, basically it's in the desert, very hot and stuff like that. The sets we had were freaking amazing.
Wow.
So yeah, and like I said, it's like everything, everybody that helped produce it was amazing. They made us look like $1,000,000. So
Baby, baby, baby.
yeah.
Friends in Heat. Well,
And also I got to give credit to Jim over at Sin City Imaging, who does a lot of the promotions for the studio and stuff like that. Like
right.
he does a lot of the behind the scenes work, and he really makes sure that we get promoted. He has a lot of knowledge about the industry and stuff like that. So again, he fills that role as well. He makes us look good out there. So
Whoa. Well, my listeners, remember LUXXXE Studios, Friends in Heat. You all will be hearing more on Wyatt. Gonna tell you all about it.
yeah,
I love it.
well, I was gonna say something, then I had a brain fart.
I have those a lot. Don't
Yeah.
worry about
I was gonna say something. I was gonna say something about that, and then I just totally lost. I totally lost my train of thought. Oh man, I hate it when that happens. Um, but yeah, when that's. Oh no, I remember what I was gonna say. It was 3 X's. Make sure you do that. It took me the longest time to
yeah,
to
yeah.
get it right with the 3 X's. That's super important.
So y'all look, it's LUXXXE. I'm sounding like a cheerleader.
Yeah.
LUXXXE Studios.
I like it. I like it. Like I said, your enthusiasm is very, very contagious. Whereas me, I'm very like, I absorb a lot of stuff. So sometimes it can seem like I'm like not interested in stuff when really I'm just like, I'm taking it all in. But you're like very like, your energy is very, very, very great, which is why it's so easy to be interviewed by you.
Well, thank you. It's the stand-up, baby.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, again, I told you earlier how much just absolute admiration I have for people that do that, because I'm just like, it's one of those things where it's like, oh man, I could never. It's like, the same thing almost that you have for like people that do really dangerous jobs, because in a way it is a really dangerous job. You can really, really, really make yourself look not too good. If you have a bad day or something like that, you know. But yeah, so I have nothing but for that side of like, to me, you do dramatic acting, you do improv comedy, stuff like that. I mean, to me, nothing is as challenging. Maybe doing like a soap opera where you have to learn your lines constantly. That's really challenging. But stand up is a whole nother thing. That is like, I just have nothing but admiration.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Question for you, Justin. What 3 crucial pieces of advice do you have for aspiring adult entertainers working hard to be successful in the business?
Well, I consider myself still like moving on up, so maybe I'm being a little humble about it. So I don't always like giving advice just because I don't always feel like I'm the best person to give it. But I'll tell you what, I'll tell you my things is, you know, don't give in to the self-doubt, I would say, for one thing.
Okay.
Because that is something that can just absolutely derail you, not just in this, but in life in general. I mean, you know, you read in some of the magazines all the time of like Entrepreneur and Inc. and all these magazines that talk about like people going out and starting their own businesses and stuff like that. And people trying to, you know, I know I can't say this on here, but like un-F themselves from their previous their previous mindsets and stuff. It's always there's always articles about that. So yeah, it's a big problem, especially you know, when you're in an industry where you're like on. In a way, it's like stand-up, where it's like you're naked, you're on, everybody's staring at you.
Yes.
You know, so
yes.
just it's a real struggle. And if anybody tells you that oh no, I'm totally confident, they are full of it. You know, I think everybody struggles with self-doubt. People just might handle it, maybe externally handle it a little better. But I can't believe it. Some of the people I look at, I'm like, oh my God, you're like gorgeous, and you feel like you're not, like I just want to like. There are a couple people I said, you know, I just want to smack you for saying that, you know. So that's like the first piece of advice. Is also another thing is I would say that the best like social media platform is always get a Twitter, because you can kind of post whatever you want on there. And so just that's a great way to like promote all of your stuff. And also get as many platforms, if depending on, you know, if you want to just work on your own or you want to work for a studio, get as many platforms as you can, because especially with some of the stuff that went down with OnlyFans recently, to just make sure you have that, because you never know when one day some platform like that's going to go, oh, by the way, we're going to go all Tumblr on you and decide that we're going to, you know, so diversify, you know, because there are a lot of people, I know there are a lot of people that were, especially more on the straight side of the industry with like, especially the females, they're making serious money and they're only on one platform. So when that went down, they're just like, they don't know, they're totally losing it. So, so just be very, very careful with that.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
And then, so yeah, diversify as much as possible. And also, you know, just sort of figure out, I guess, because there's a bunch of things I want to say for the third thing, but I would say also, and this is something I wish I had known at the beginning, is just, you know, get people on your side. Because when I first, I did this, you know, some of the earlier experiences that weren't so positive, I was sort of on my own, you know, and so just make sure you seek advice from people, other people you admire and stuff. Most people will be pretty generous with that. I mean, you'll always get some, you know, I don't want to say it, a-holes, but
you can say it.
Yeah, you'll get that. But yeah, I mean, just try to seek out advice from others, and that's how you grow. It is really hard because there isn't really like traditional forms of advice for like doing this. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's really hard. Like you try to take like some of the stuff you learn from like, say, people who are business entrepreneurs and stuff like that and apply it to this, but sometimes it doesn't always translate real well.
Well, I think you've given aspiring adult entertainers some solid advice here, and I really want to thank you for that.
I'm sure there's more stuff if I had thought about it, thought it out a little bit more. There'd probably be. I know the minute we get done with the podcast, I'm gonna be like, oh, I should have said that.
That's why you're coming back sometime next year.
Yeah, because I will have thought of it by then. Yeah, because there's so many things. It's not there's just like 3 things. There's like 10 things, and I just what's so aggravating is that like there are things that it took me 10 years to figure out, and I'm like,
Okay.
if somebody could have just sat me down for 5 minutes,
Right,
and told me all this stuff, it could have saved a lot of grief. But sometimes you have to learn things the hard way.
Yeah, and sometimes when you do, I think they stick with you longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. What projects and appearances do you have on tap for the rest of the year, for like December through next year, 2022? We know Friends in Heat is dropping, but what else is going on?
Well, I mean, there are a couple appearances that I'm looking to do coming up here. I don't have clear dates on those just yet, but I know they're definitely, especially coming in like January and February, my schedule's going to get really busy and I'm going to be like traveling around a lot and stuff, but it's not like 100% solidified yet. There are a couple of like promotional things and things like that I might be involved with that we're working on right now. So yeah, I mean, it's still kind of in the early stages, so I don't have it 100% worked out just yet. But especially coming in like late January, February especially is going to be like really busy, which is good. I mean, that is a good thing, yeah. So.
Well, awesome. Well, Justin, how do us grown folk contact and connect with you? Give us all of your social media, please.
Okay, so first of all, most of them are pretty much the same, except Instagram. I don't know why they wouldn't let me put an X on the end of my name on Instagram because they're weird. But everything is pretty much my name, Justin Yurmouth X, all one thing. So that'll get you into my Twitter, OnlyFans, Just for Fans, TikTok, all that fun stuff. And then the only difference is Instagram is Justin Yurmouth 87. So
okay, would you please spell your last name?
Oh, hold on. Because this is the worst thing because I can't do it in my head. So I'm honestly going to have to look at my phone here real quick. It's weird. I can't spell in my head. I have to like write stuff out. So it's Justin, just like Justin is normally spelled, and it's Yurmouth.
Got it. I wanted you to say it because I'd already said it, but I wanted you to say it.
Oh, yeah.
Spell it.
Yeah, for sure. Isn't it? Again, I think that's one of those things that we all think like, oh, you're way too smart to have to look at a phone to spell something. But I think there are a lot of people that are like that are like they can't process it in their brain, so they have to like write it down. So.
Sure, you're absolutely right. Well, Mr. Justin Yurmouth, thanks for stopping by. Wyatt, you gotta come back, my man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, this was a lot of fun today. I hope I gave out the same energy that you do. I hope I did a great job.
You do.
This is my first like true podcast. Like I've done like Zoom calls and stuff like that, but no, you're my first. So I'm sure we're doing a lot more of these, but yeah, this is kind of new for me. So yeah.
You did a great job. Thank you so much.
And next time I'll have my house internet working so I won't have to go to the gym to use their internet. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, listen, thank you again. I greatly appreciate it.
I greatly appreciate you having me on. And again, a great thanks to JD LUXXXE for taking me on. And also Jim over at Sin City Imaging for always making us look good, and all the people that work on our productions and things like that. We all work together to do an amazing job.
So y'all, there you have it. You can find the official Wyatt podcast page on WyattEvans.com, and the official hashtag is Wyatt on Air. If you want to be a guest on Wyatt, or you just have comments, email me at WyattOnAir@gmail.com. And you can follow me, Wyatt O'Brien Evans, your host, on Facebook.com/Wyatt O'Brien Evans, on Twitter at Mr. Woe, MISTERWOE, and on Instagram at Mr. Wyatt O, MRWYATTO. And be sure to check out my Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels, the latest being Frenzy, and its predecessor, Rage, all at WyattEvans.com. So until next time, y'all, woof, goddammit, woof, 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 arf!